Hi, I'm Christine Welcher, and this is my group leading report. My meeting was held on Friday, June 14th at 7:45 p.m. in the basement meeting room of a local church here in Virginia, immediately following a regularly scheduled Narcotics Anonymous meeting that meets at the same location every Friday at 6:30. There was no setup except for ensuring that each participant receive a worksheet and a pen when they come in. I had a total of 10 participants. 8 I knew just on a very platonic level from the prior Narcotics Anonymous meetings that I had been visiting for another project within this class. And the 2 I had never met before, and they were guests of the members, 2 other members that had come. In total, I had 5 females and 3 males, and they ranged in the ages of 20 to 64, and I had no co-leader. The purpose of this group was to move past talking about addiction and learning how, and moving on to personal goals and growth. The idea was to educate the members on how goals are important in our recovery, because recovery really is just one long-term goal, and how to actually identify our goals and to break them down into smaller, more easily accomplished steps, as well as to provide support, because really at any point in attempting a goal, failure can come up, and for a recovering addict, that failure can be just enough to send them back out. So the dynamic of this group from beginning to end was wonderful. People were very open. They knew what this meeting was about, so they come willingly, and they even voiced excitement in the idea of taking the recovery to another level, which would involve building relationships more on a conversational part than just sitting in a room and taking turns talking about what's hard about recovery. From the beginning, I explained confidentiality expectations, as well as the guidelines for sharing, and the expectations of respect and no interrupting, and maintaining a respectable time limit upon sharing. We then went around the room, and I asked everybody to introduce themselves by first name, time of sobriety, and job or career. After that, we again started talking about goals. I opened the floor for anybody to begin any sort of conversation that they had on their history with goals or their fear of goals. And there was a lot of talk about how goals were difficult and how they were always worried about failure, so they just decided not to set goals other than, doing what they had to do to stay clean. And I found it very interesting how willing these people were to share that they just didn't set goals, and I was surprised that there were at least 5 people there who agreed that they were so busy living day to day and just getting by without getting high that really was their only goal. And even though they expressed that they did want longer, wider, more broad goals. After that, we took time to work on the worksheet, which provided spaces for a simple long-term goal that they wish to accomplish within the next 6 months. After that, I broke them into dyads, where I asked them to discuss each other's long-term goals and make suggestions as 3 to 5 short-term steps that they would need to do in order to achieve their goal. And I also asked them to flag 3 of those 5, if at least 3 of them, that they were planning on working on this week, because we are going to meet again on Friday to see how well they've done, how they feel about it, or anything else, any more support that they need, or changing of these goals. After that dyad, we reconvened and we went around, and I asked each person to state their long-term goal and to tell one thing that they would work on this week, and how they felt about that goal. After that, I opened the floor again, and a lot of the members offered each other support. I was able to link some of the members with a long-term goal and something that another member has stated they already accomplished. I had one member who, in that late conversation, realized that her long-term goal really wasn't something that she wanted. So with the support of the group, she identified that her long-term goal was now figuring out what her long-term goal was. And throughout this week, she would talk to 2 people who each held a job she was interested in, as well as seek out the being able to take an aptitude test to learn a little bit more about herself, which I encouraged her to do, and had offered my assistance after the course to help her find a reputable place to have that done. My leadership technique was as a guide, as a leader. There were times that I found myself becoming a participant, and I had to really draw myself back into the fact that I just wanted to be a platonic leader that provided support and education and information and support for these addicts to be able to accomplish what they've set out to accomplish. A lot of times, anything can seem overwhelming to an addict. So when somebody's on the outside and can take it and be like, okay, no, let's look at it this way, it's a lot easier for them to be able to follow through. So what I feel like I need to work on in my next meetings is to remain that leader and not overshare, meaning share of my own experiences, even though I was able to identify with all of them, and make sure that the things that I tell them and guide them through are done through my experience, but on a level to just help them. And I think something that I did well was to guide the group through these steps. I was able to maintain the flow. I felt like everybody understood what was happening and what was expected. I felt like everybody felt comfortable in sharing. I also felt that they appeared extremely encouraged by the end of our meeting. They were kind of, I can't wait to see, if I can do this, or this was so much easier than I thought it was going to be, or that one person said, that long-term goal doesn't seem as long-term now. And I think that's what was important, was to make them understand that just because you know where you want to go, it doesn't always mean you know how to get there. And the purpose of my meetings are to help them learn how to get there. And once they learn those steps and build that confidence, they can, on their own, do exactly the same thing. So in conclusion, I think that I would like to explore the possibility of developing this type of group meeting on a larger scale. Something that, or in a more regular scale, something that people can regularly attend and get the support they need to move forward. When you're in active addiction, you lose not only yourself, but your ability to self. The only goal you have is to get high. And no matter what age you started your addiction, when you get out of it, you're starting all over again. And it is so overwhelming, and it is scary. And the more help you can have along the way, I truly believe the less stumbles there will be. There will always be relapse. There will always be failures. There will always be disappointments. But the more support that is provided for a recovering addict, the better the chance is that they will recover and that they will live the life that God has led them to live. And I really hope and pray that I can be that person for at least one. So I think I need to work on my leadership skills, work on my delivery, not ramble as much, and I am very excited for my future, and I appreciate all that I've learned in this class, because it made me realize that it's not just one-on-one that I am being led to work, but on a grander scale. So thank you.